Pauline Hanson has just returned from a 10-day top-secret mission to Afghanistan. The One Nation Senator donned army greens and underwent 3 days of mandatory training before joining Aussie troops on the ground in an active combat zone.
Why did I choose to go? Is because I wanted to experience what our Aussie soldiers go through in a war zone. And it's very important to me. We're making decisions on the floor of Parliament. I wanted to experience that, to know what they go through.
Pauline learned about first aid, weapons and how to shoot a target, proving to be quite a natural.
It's also about learning how to handle a gun. Although we didn't carry one, if we were put in that circumstance that we needed to defend, well then we would know what we were doing. I'm going to show you this. I'm proud of this. We actually had 2 rifles and 2 handguns. Well, this was from the rifle, my attempt at firing a rifle training from about 100 metres. Well, I hit the target. And the handgun, we had 2 handguns. One of them was a Browning, and this was from the handguns. The first one, we actually had to fire at the throat area, and that was my efforts, and this one was to the head. Yep, he wouldn't have survived that.
And Pauline Hanson joins us now. Wow, that's pretty impressive shooting, Pauline. Good morning, welcome. You know, a lot of
Good morning, Sam.
It's an interesting point that our politicians are making huge decisions about sending troops off to war. What did you learn from being on the ground in Afghanistan? Would you do anything differently or urge the Prime Minister to do anything differently regarding our troops in the future?
No, it's not. I think it's so important for us to be in Afghanistan. Is there a time frame I can put on it? No, I can't, Sam. The people are so grateful for the coalition forces to be in their country. At the October 20th this year, they have elections, which our government is actually helping them with those elections so they can get democracy to the country. There's still the real threat of insurgents. You've still got attacks that are happening on a daily basis. So it's very important we are there, and we are also mentoring the Afghan National Army, which I spent 2 hours with them and spoke to the brigadier of their army, watched the training. Very important we are there. It was wonderful to spend time with the soldiers, and the big issue that I have, and many other members of Parliament have, is to deal with PTSD. So I've been dealing with this over the last year and a half, and so to speak to the soldiers and the chaplain over there was great. It was very informative.
Pauline, how are our troops? I mean, it's Anzac Day on Wednesday, so this is a week when we think about them anyway. Our serving troops, how are they going?
Yeah.
They've been there a long time.
The morale is extremely high. When they go over on service, they actually are there for around about 6 to 7 months. It's the families. You know, we forget about the families that are back here waiting for them to come home. But as one soldier said to me, he said, Pauline, the ABC are putting out that we don't want to be here. He said, that's not the case. And he said, we want to be here. Another soldier said, his son said to him, Dad, why do you want to go over there? He said, son, when you train for the football match, he said, you train for the A grade, not the B grade. He said, this is the A grade. This is their height, this is their training, and they feel as if they're really doing something, which they are. And I take my hat off to them, and especially on this week of Anzac Day on Wednesday. Yep. You know, remember the soldiers, whether they're over there or whether, you know, former ones, very important.
We're very proud. They do a spectacular job overseas. Pauline, while we've got you, we want to talk about the Banking Royal Commission and these extremely dodgy practices that are being highlighted. You obviously were instrumental in calling for this Royal Commission for a long time. Now, you've got a proposal for where company tax cuts for banks should be channeled. What would you like to see happen here?
I like to see the money from the quarantine from the company tax cuts, which starts in 23-24 and then in 26-27, that the money is actually paid back to those people who have suffered at the hands of the banks. We've dealt with them over the last year and a half, and we were instrumental from the very first day I met the Prime Minister calling for a Royal Commission into it. He wouldn't give it to us. He was adamant, and then we actually then said, let's have a Senate inquiry, which we did. What we started discovering out of that, and the National Party knew that we were actually very instrumental in getting evidence out of that they then started calling for the Royal Commission. So we got it. Now, a lot of people, and I want it to go deeper, we actually need to look at the liquidators, the receivers and the managers. We need to also look at mortgage insurance, and we need to make the banks pay compensation to the people who have lost their properties through legal costs, through losing their properties. The people must be compensated for this, and it's going to cost millions of dollars, and they should also pay for the Royal Commission, not the taxpayer.
Yeah, there's going to be a big bill at the end of this, and this is the fight now. Who's going to pay, the taxpayer or the banks? I know where most Australians would sit, Pauline. OK, thanks for your time this morning. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Sam.